in the wrong place. I don't know who is 140.03.
We
Is
are.
that Easley? Is that Anderson Easley or who is
We
it?
are.
I think we're 5. Not sure.
I think we're 5.
Wait, I think it's us.
Can I not hear
Well,
you?
anyway, I wasn't supposed to. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Since I have 3 classes, which is the Easley, the Pendleton, and the Anderson campus, I have 3 140s. Everybody see those 3 140s right there? Okay?
I think
Instead of me having
Pendleton's
to
3.
do homework in 3 classes, they made a coordinator class for me, which is down here. So if I want to make a test, I put it in here and I sign it, and it goes out to those 3 classes. Everybody see? Everybody understand? Well,
Yeah.
Yes,
dumb
sir.
me this morning, I clicked on the Math 103 class thinking that was the coordinator course. I don't know why I did it, but I did it, and I created and revised all 5 sections of homework. Well, guess what? I can't copy those over to the other 2 sections. So that means I've got to what? I've got to
Do it
create
all
another
over?
5. So that's what I'm not doing. So I emailed MyLabs Plus, the technical gurus that we work with to set this up, and hopefully they're going to copy the 5 homeworks out of section 3. I'll show. I already unassigned them because I don't want anybody working on them. If you go into 03, I guess that's Anderson. You'll know which ones they are because they say revise. See them right there? And
Yeah,
take
those are the
2.6
Pendleton.
off. We're not going to go over 2.6. So on your outline, mark out 2.6 because I want to get into calculus. I want to. I don't. 5 sections of homework on limits is enough. Okay, you don't need to master limits to go into calculus. So I'm going to, those sections, hopefully by tonight, will be copied over into the coordinator course. And they'll be deleted from Math 140.03. As soon as they put them back in the coordinator course, and I go in and assign them, they should go out and assign on all 3 courses. Does everybody understand what I just went over? So, in other words, just bear with me, hopefully until tonight, and I'll give you the weekend to work on it. I'm also going to give you a test over the weekend to do 10 questions. I told you it'd be 10 questions on limits. It's not a make or break. Most of you are going to make a C or better on it, unless you're deadhead. You'll make a C or better on it. And I'll tell you what questions I'm going to put on it. I've already unassigned this 2.1 through 2.6 homework. I've unassigned that. I wish I could delete it, but I can't. So by tonight, hopefully, if they can, they will copy and paste it. They will Control X out of 03 and Control V into the coordinator course, and then I'll go in and assign it, and it'll go out to all 3 courses. Everybody got it? So just bear with me. I just wanted y'all to see that because I didn't want y'all to think I was just lying. I did go through and create it.
Appreciate you limiting our coursework.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do. Who said that? Is that you, Miss Sterling? Thank you. All right. So anyway, to make a long story short, we're going to go over some more notes today and more questions. And I'll go through and I'll show you a couple of the questions out of each section of homework. Let's just do that. I think that'll be easier. So let me go to the homework and I can show you what kind of questions they are. Let's go over the 2.1. And it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go over a few. And I did hit record. Now, that's pretty simple. You can write it down, but it says find and simplify each of the following for f of x. Okay, that's your difference quotient. Why in the world are they putting that in there? For the substitution. That's why. Don't ask me why they have it in the limits, but there it is. I think I know why, because a good teacher is supposed to take the limit theory, put it with the difference quotient in chapter 3, mash it together, and give you a derivative. It's the same thing, and I think that's what they're trying to do with this homework. But I'm not going to do this problem because I think y'all can do it. It's basically, the gist of the problem is make sure you can do the difference quotient with, oh, that was from this one. Hold on. Make sure you can do the difference quotient with f of x is equal to 5x minus 6. So make sure you can do that because that's your final outcome. So that's one question. F of x is equal to 5x minus 6.
Marker on ink.
No, it's not out of ink. I don't have ink in it. It's just, I think the battery's dead. Walter, will you go down to the front desk and tell them I need a AA battery, please? Can you go down there and do that? Okay, so that would be this x plus h right here. You just plug in 5 parentheses x plus h. Okay, I don't know if this is going to make it or not. Five parentheses x plus h minus 6, and that would be 5x plus 5h minus 6. I'm gonna call Pendleton back up, or did they ever? Yeah, there they are. Okay, I don't know why I just said that. I guess I just had a memory lapse. All right, so if I did x minus h, then x minus b would be minus 5x minus 6. And then 5x, the 5x's cancel, and the 6's cancel, and you're left with 5h. So b would be 5h. And the last one is to get the h's out, and you're left with 5. Okay, so that's kind of a question you'll see with that. I'm going to go on, we're going to move on to another question, and then we'll go to 5.2. I'm just 2.2, excuse me. Sorry about this. Kind of hard to tell when the battery's going to go out. Okay, same thing. Suppose t, s of t is a position of an object moving along a line. T is greater than 0 because you can't go back in time. Some people wish they could. What is the average velocity between the times? T is equal to A and T is equal to B, so that would be an A and B point. So S of B minus, okay, think of it as a, and what they're basically getting you ready to find the slope of a line is what they're getting you ready for. Of course, we've already covered this, but if you have a point here and a point here, A is going to be right here, and B is going to be right here. So S of B minus S of A over, B minus A. So whichever B minus A is, so it's not that one. And this one is crisscross, so that's not it. Looks like that one. Yeah. Right here. So D would be your answer. Y'all remember when I told y'all that you take the limit theory and you take algebra and you put them together? Well, I think what they're trying to do in chapter 2, I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to do it in an analytical, textbook way. So next question, and I'm going to another question that's a little bit different. Okay, the function 6x minus x, 6x cubed minus x makes a table of slope of secant line and makes a conjecture about the slope of tangent line at 1. So they want you to complete the table, plug and chug, interval from 1 to 2. So you'll plug in 1, plug in 2, and then the slope, self-explanatory. Do you notice there's only 4 questions? So hopefully all of you will be able to finish at least 2.1. Okay? So that's 2.1, not a big deal. 2.2. I didn't even see a question on there that would be on the test. I told you 75 to 80% is coming from the 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5. The graph of a function is shown to the right. Use the graph to find the following. F of 0. Somebody tell me, is this a algebraic composition or is it a limit? Algebraic. Again, that's the difference between algebra and limits. The algebra is boom, there it is. So f of 0 is what? 3? And you feel good about yourself. What is, when I'm approaching negative 4, what is my limit as I approach negative 4 from the right? What am I approaching? 6. When you see the word approach, that means what's my y value going to be? Or what am I approaching in y value? Okay? So, and I think that's probably what is my domain? My domain is not inclusive of negative 4 and 4. So which one says not inclusive? That's D. So you see, they're still in 2.1 and 2.2, they're getting you to think of, okay, algebra and limit, algebra and limit. They're going to bring in a limit here in 2.3, and they're going to merge them together. Okay, what's the next question? Check answer. Okay, so how many questions we got here? 12. Oh, that may stop you, some of y'all. 12 questions, woo. What is a set of x values such that f of x is equal to 3? That's a 25-cent word for what is equal to 3. Not f of x, but what? Y. Where is y equal to 3? 0. So you see where they're going with 2.1 and 2.2? They're really not giving you much on limits. They're just, range is from 0 to what? 6. Next question. Okay, here's where they start introducing the limits, and some of them are going to be very basic. And basically, when limit f of x exists, it always equals f of a. Okay, state whether the statement is true or false. Okay, true. Evaluate f of x at x is equal to a. Therefore, f of x, now remember, it's going to be approaching. Okay, so I don't know which one this is because they're C. Okay, the limit, if it exists, depends on values near. There you go. Thank you. Because I wish they would use the word approach, because approach is better. But I think you're getting the gist of it. Here's one of your graphs. Now this is a test question because I like this test question even though it's got several parts. So write that test question down. Okay? It says use the graph of H in the given blah, 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 blah to find the 4 things that they're going to ask you for. Okay? H of 4 means that this is an algebraic expression. I know that x is 4. What is my outcome when x is 4? 8. Why ain't you looking at the graph, Hubert? Why ain't you looking at that? Because is this a limit or is this an algebraic function? Okay, write that down. A is an algebraic function, so you're not looking for a limit. Okay, now you're looking for limits. B is a limit. So what am I approaching y value? What y value am I approaching when I approach x is equal to 4? 6. And that's your answer there. So here's 8. And the next one is 4. Do y'all see why I said we don't need to spend 2 or 3 weeks on this section?
That was 6.
Oh, 6. Because this is kind of elementary. Okay? H of 7. Is this a algebraic function or is it a limit? Algebraic. So you go over here and you say 7. Okay? 7 does not exist. Why? Because you got a bubble right there. There ain't no number there.
Is that a vertical?
Okay? Pretty much. So you would say, which one says does not exist? D. I have some students that'll email me and say, there is no does not exist on there. Whatever. D. Is D a limit or is D an algebraic function?
Limit.
It's a limit, and I don't know why. Okay, there we go. So at 7, it's approaching what? 2? And you feel good about yourself. And 8. What we doing at 8? I have no idea. It looks like it's approaching what? 2.5? 2? 3? Is it 3? Okay, y'all at an angle. I'm not. Or what? I'm at an angle. You're not. And that's a good test question. If I was to give you a test question out of 2.1 and 2.2, but it would be one test question. So let's move on to 2.3. 2.3 is where you start getting into the questions that's going to make up a good portion of the test. Okay, I'm not going to ask you on a test how to factor. Okay, the test questions I'm going to give you will have to do with a limit. This is just a review. They're still trying to do what I've already done, basically. So I'm going to move on. That's complex rational. We've already done one like that with a limit. That's a what? Rationalize the denominator. Okay, there's a function, right? That's a property. These are properties. So what happens when you plug in 1 for that f of x? You get 1. And what's 1 times 3? 3. So you would put 3 constant multiple because you're multiplying by a constant. I'm not going to put that on the test. And that's the same thing. What's f of x? F of x is 39. What's g of x? G of x is 5. 5 minus 2 is what? 3. 39 is 13. So that would be 13. Okay, that's plug and chug. Trying to get one that might make up, that might be the next question. Might be the next section. Okay. That right there may be 1. What happens when you plug in 3 on this one?
You get 0.
Not 0. 2 times 3 is what?
6.
6 minus 9 is -3. So you get a -3. That's a test question. Okay, that's a limit. But the ones that I'm going to do are one that will give you 0 in the denominator. No, I'm trying to get there. There we go. All right, so do that one. What would you do here? When in doubt, factor it out. So what are you going to do? Shortcut number 2 up top. So this is the kind of stuff I'm going to give you on the test. So x plus 10, x minus 10. I don't know what's up with this thing today. Over x minus 10, them damn Russians. So now we've got the limit as x approaches 10 of x plus 10. So what is our y approaching when we're approaching 10? 20, Hubert. Thank you, class. I appreciate the interaction.
Welcome.
Smart ass. Next, let's do one more that's a decent one. That one, let me tell you what to do on this one. What's x minus b over x minus b? X minus b to the 60th over x minus b. It's going to be x minus b to the 59th power, which is an odd. That's not a hard problem. It's not a test question, but it's not a hard problem. Okay? I'm trying to get to test questions. Okay, here's one. Here's a test question. I want you to do this one. I'll write it on the board for those that sit in the back of the room and complain. Huh? So, limit as x equals, or x goes to -5. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I put a new battery. Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. They gave me a dead battery.
Oh.
I'm not getting up.
I thought they'd give them a AAA.
They gave me a dead battery.
Did you get them mixed up maybe?
No, he only gave me one. Thank you. School of Technology. Okay, I can't use my finger because it's not. Well, I mean, here's the other one. Okay, I can use this one. Thank goodness. There we go. Now it's working. All right. So limit as, look how much better that is. It's neat what happens when you got, so 2 times 2x plus 3 quantity squared minus 98 over, okay, that's nice. I just think Mayberry Community College is now taken over by the Russians. Next, they'll be beating us up, throwing us in a van, and telling us who to vote for. X plus 5.
Oh.
Okay, why can't we just plug and chug here? Because you get a 0 in the denominator. So you can't factor. So what do you do? Well, does anybody see a shortcut? Shortcut number 1, 2x plus 3, quantity squared. You can multiply that out and get 2 times 4x squared plus what? 12x plus 9 minus 98. We found the other one.
Okay, good deal.
Oh, they gave us 3.
I was like,
put
oh,
it- Thank you. Over x plus 5. I'm going to hide these.
I don't know what else, but you can just make a little stash somewhere. Yeah.
I'll just put them right here. Nobody ever comes over here anyway, so. I ain't
They
got
should have
no-
given you rechargeable batteries. That's what we got over here.
Yeah. I ain't going to say nothing. You better be quiet.
No, it was just double.
Should have, right?
Mayberry. Say again?
They needed the money that they could have spent on the battery, on the rechargeable batteries for the buildings that haven't been done for the past 3.5 months up there.
Where at?
Up there.
Lakeside?
No, like,
Oh, up there. I thought you were pointing to Lakeside. Actually, Lakeside is that way. I thought you were pointing to Lakeside. That's not our baby. That's District 3, 4, and 5, I think. Okay. Yeah, I know. They're using all the money. That's why we ain't got no batteries. Okay, so we got 8x squared plus 24x plus 9, up 18, minus 98 over x plus 5. Now what? Well, the 18 minus 98 is negative 80, isn't it? So that's going to be 8x squared plus 24x minus 80 over x plus 5. Now what? When in doubt, factor it out. See what you get. This is a prime example of 80% algebra and 10% limit. Because we haven't even done the limit yet. That's why people suck at calculus. You could factor out an 8 if you want to. That'll give you what? X squared plus 3x minus 10. X squared plus 3x minus 10 over x plus 5. Factor that. X reverse FOIL because 10 is not a perfect square. That'll give you a 2 and a 5. We need a positive 3. And unlike, oh my gosh, look what happens. So now, all of that algebra, we have the limit as x is equal to, or approaches, sorry, x approaches negative 5 of 8 times x minus 2. So what do we get? Dang old negative 56. This is a prime example on why people can't do limits. Because you can't do what? Algebra. What's 8 times 7? I don't know what 8 times 7 is. 56 or 48? 56.
Oh, there.
Look there, I got it right. And again, where is the only place we actually did a limit? Right here. Okay, forget it. I can't. Oh, me, oh my. This is the only place right here that we actually did the limit. The rest of it's algebra. That's a good test question, because most people will miss it. I can get them to quit school. Oh my gosh, look there. That's another test question right there. What do we do on this one? Oh, shoot. Oh, man, I think I might as well just quit. What do we do on this one? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all to interact with me.
Would you rationalize the numerator?
Rationalize the numerator. Who said that?
Anna?
Miss Rowland, very good job. You're not on the side of I-85, are you?
Or
Huh?
not anymore. I was on the
Not
side
anymore,
of 26.
okay. Where were you? Were you in Clemson or were you somewhere else? Where were you?
No, I was driving home from Greenville since I live in Newberry, and I was at the exit 72 on 26.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to get off and stop at the Sicko and wait for my dad to come pick me up in his repo truck. So
What was your
I'm
car
so
doing?
sorry you had to spend time on 26.
What was your car doing?
my transmission is gone. It's done with.
My truck just went in yesterday. Brand new transmission. I'm putting in a brand new transmission.
We dropped the oil pan
Dodge
6 to
3500.
8 ago, and there was bearings in the oil pan, so or
Okay.
transmission pan, so we knew it was
that's
time.
not good. What kind of car you got?
A 2002 Mustang. Yeah, I know.
You need to quit burning rubber on Saturday nights, Miss
I
Rowland.
don't burn rubber.
Okay, so what do? We rationalize the numerator. Now, what tells you to do this? You ain't got no choice. You've got x minus 196. Whenever you have a denominator that's easy. It just gives you 0. We can't do this problem. You know you've got to do what? Something else. So we're going to multiply by the conjugate of the numerator. So that's square root of x plus 14 over the square root of x plus 14. And up top, that's going to give us x minus what? What's 14? 196? Yes, Hubert. No, Hubert. I don't have any idea, Hubert, but wait a minute and I'll check. Appreciate the interaction.
Well, okay, 14 times 10 is 140, so yeah, there you go. 96, sounds good.
Well, I just was wanting somebody to say something, you know. Heaven forbid somebody say anything. I've given up on Pendleton. They're not going to talk. They hate me. So now we can actually plug 196 into the bottom. Not yet, because the 196 is canceled. There we go. They cancel. And we get 1 over square root of x plus 14. Now we've done our algebra. Now we can do what? Our limit as x approaches 196.
You couldn't have a rational in the denominator.
I didn't say rationalize the denominator.
No, I mean the next group.
I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was.
You're talking to yourself.
Never mind. Yeah,
Do you answer yourself?
I think so.
Equals 1 over 14 plus 14, 1 over 28. That's another good test problem. Again, 10% of the question is limit. 90% is algebra. Uh-oh. Y'all check me, make sure I didn't. What's the square root of 196? Should be 14.
14, because you had to get it up at the point. Oh, just
Wow.
Okay, go jump in a lake. Oh, now they want it. Whatever. 1 divided by 28. Same one. There's another test question. So you got 2 good test questions there. Let's move on. What are you going to do here? Algebra. 36 plus what? 12h plus h squared minus 36 over h. And then you're going to factor out the h and pretty much, you know, or do something. You're going to factor out. Well, let's do this one. Might as well do it because I don't know how it goes. I haven't done this one.
You're approaching 1, you would be going to cancel. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you're approaching 0.
Yeah, no, I was just saying.
So you're going to have to do something because you can't say, oh, that's easy.
36 is cancel out.
Yeah, but that's going to leave you with 6. Yeah, okay. And you're going to factor out h. Okay, let's go ahead and do it because some people may be asleep and not know what we're talking about. I still haven't ascertained how many people in this class actually invented limits yet. I have to ascertain that later. Limit as h approaches 0 of 6. Let's go ahead and say 36 plus 12h plus h squared minus 36 over h. And there we did our shortcut number 1 with the 6 plus h quantity squared. Now we're going to cancel. Did y'all watch Jeopardy last night?
I didn't get it.
Oh, he gave that up.
James lost me.
He
He
gave it
did that
up.
on purpose.
He did that on purpose. That boy has never risked less than $10,000 on a daily double or a final Jeopardy, and last night he did 1,000.
He didn't even risk enough to win if she had got the question wrong.
Yeah.
Let alone, I mean, he could have won.
I told my daughter, I think he has a photographic memory. That's why he's a gambler.
Yeah.
And I told him a long time ago, I said, he will quit when he wants to quit because nobody could beat him.
Yeah.
He wanted to quit.
Wasn't he 1 day away though from the record?
Yeah, but I don't think he really wanted the record. I don't know why, but I don't know. He quit because he wanted to quit.
Well, he's always he's never been too aggressive in his betting, but you're right. He's been very strategic though about it.
Very strategic, but $1,000?
Maybe he's got up to mafia. told him to take a dive.
I think the Russians beat him up, threw him in a van, and told him to lose.
He's like, you have to take this dive.
Yeah.
'cause we're betting on you losing.
Yeah, that's what the Russians did. So factor out h, 12 plus h over h, and the h's go out, and now you can do limit as h approaches 0 of 12 plus h, and what's 12 plus 0?
12.
And you feel good about yourself. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how many of you have sat through a calculus class before, but you can sit through a calculus class in limits and be lobotomized. And they're not that difficult because 90% of them is algebra. How many of y'all have ever sat in one and been lobotomized? Nobody's going to say anything.
I've felt lobotomized before.
In limits? In limits?
Oh, I just meant in general.
Oh, in general? Yeah,
My
well,
day-to-day life.
yeah, that's called the drugs that you do. That's why. All right, 4. I'm just going to type
It's
it.
the baby, isn't it?
Huh?
I said it's the baby.
Yeah.
There's tank top. I just didn't do laundry today.
Okay, I didn't know what the answer. What was the answer to the last one?
12.
Was it 12? Did we get it right? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they wanted. I didn't know if they wanted the whole setup or what. So let's do the last one because this what, 3? This 4th one will be a good test question too, probably. Oh yeah, that's a good test question. So we got 4 good test questions right here. So, limit as x approaches 3 of x minus 3 over square root of 4x plus 13 minus 5. Now, if you plug in 12 plus 13, you're going to get 0 in the denominator. So it's not going to be one of those easy, oh, it's easy, I only got to do this. It's not going to be one of those. Most of y'all can do basic math, so I'm not going to put those on the test of limits. So, you've got to do something to the denominator.
Rationalize it.
Rationalize it. And the key to this is it is a square root. And if it's a square root, you know you're going to rationalize. So I'm going to take my handy dandy blue and I'm going to multiply by the square root of 4x plus 13 plus 5, square root of 4x plus 13 plus 5. And on the bottom, that's going to give us, I'll use my trusty parentheses that I've still used today with several degrees, although there's some students that don't need them. You figure that out. And that's going to give us a square root of 4x plus 13 and 5. And then we're just going to have a mess up here. We'll get to that later. Okay? Now, what happens to the 4x plus 13 squared square root? What happens? That goes out. That leaves you with 4x plus 13. And then what's 5 squared? And what's 13 minus 25? Oh my gosh, and you factor out a 4x minus 12, and you factor out a 4x minus what? 3? There's your denominator. So, we've got limit as x approaches 3 of x minus 3 times square root of 4x plus 13 plus 5 over x minus 3 with a 4 in front. And of course, the x minus 3's cancel. And you're left with something you can do. And of course, I'm just going to, 4 times 3 is what? 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 over 4 is what? 5 halves?
Yes. What?
I'm off the clock now. I don't answer any questions. Plug in the 3, you get 3 times 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 13 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 over 4 is 5 over 2. Let's check so we see if we need to buy any sunglasses.
That's where they want you to simplify it. I don't think they want the answer.
Oh, they want the setup again.
Yeah.
Five over 2. No sunglasses in the gym. So that's those are 4 or 5 good questions that'll be on the test. So let's move on to 2.4. I know what time it is, so y'all ain't gonna have a heart attack.
You don't
So
know
let's
that.
go to 2.4. 2.4, it's right here. This is your infinities. Of course, I don't know why they put the domain there. I don't know why they did that, but there's your conjugate. They're still trying to integrate the two things together, so we're going to move on. That's not a limit. That's not a limit. That's a vertical asymptote. This is describing a limit. Plug and chug with these numbers, and you're going to see that it's approaching. This right here is an approaching. Plug in 1.1. 1.1 plus 2 over 1.1 minus 1 squared. This is a calculator drill. Plug and chug, you see us approaching a number. That's not a test question. I'm not going to put that on the
There
test.
were a lot of those in about 130.
Yeah, I don't do those. Okay, this one is a good one. This one is a good test question because it's a graphing question, graphing limit question. What is happening when you approach x is equal to -4 from either side? Negative infinity, because you're going which way? It's pretty simple. Are you going up or down? Just think of this dang old vortex and dang old space. Y'all ever seen dang old Star Trek? There's Star Trek Next Generation, and when the Enterprise gets sucked into a vortex. Some of y'all have no earthly idea what I'm talking about. It's pretty sad. Anyway, it's your parents' fault. Okay, now, that right there means negative infinity. You're going not up, but you're going what? Down. Negative infinity. That's a good test question. Even though it's a crit question, it's a good test question. I'm trying to get to one that's a good test question. That's another graphing test question. You can work your way through that one. Nope. This may not be the section I thought. I wanted to get to the x where you have to divide through. Determine the following limits. Okay, is x approaching us undefined? 6 over 0 is undefined. Probably it's undefined, so it's probably going to be B. That's not a good test question. What did it ask?
Just as it approaches free from the right or from the left?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's undefined here and it's undefined here. It's going to be undefined here. See, what they're asking you is if you come from the left and it equals a number, and you come from the right and it's equal that same number,
Right.
then the limit exists. That's what they're asking. If they match, that's not a good question because you don't get a good number. The good question on this one would be. I'm sorry.
No, I just, as soon as I read the question, I didn't see it as 3 to 1 part of one question. Never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You compare these two to each other, and if they're equal, then the limit exists.
Yeah.
This is not a good. I don't like this question because it's not a very good. It goes to infinity, okay? And this one goes to what? Negative. Infinity. And if both of them go to infinity, then the limit exists, and they go to what? Infinity. But that's not the question I'm going to ask you. Should be negative infinity here. I thought, or negative infinity, I can't. I'm not reading the question because I'm not really. Okay, then it does not exist because negative infinity and positive infinity are not equal.
Yes, it's not continuous.
Okay, there you go. Okay, not a good test question. The ones I wanted, okay, here's one. You can actually do this one, but I want one with infinity. Okay, this one you're gonna do your shortcut on the bottom and see if you can get anything to cancel out. I'm not going to worry about that one right now. That's not a good test question. Where is my test question? Here's.
What were those limit symbols where it was like x approaching 4 positive? Is that anything after 4?
Oh, that means on the right side.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought you knew that. I thought I covered that. Okay, let me cover it right quick. I'm glad you asked because if you don't ask, I don't know. This right here means that I'm approaching x. X is equal to 4 from the right. So here is my 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I do 4 limit and then have a little plus here, that means that I'm approaching 4 from the right. Okay? And this one, that's the blue. And this one is in the red. That means that I'm approaching 4 from the what? From the left. Will these equal? No, they will not always equal. If they equal, then that means the limit exists. If they don't equal, that means the limit does not exist. Okay? That's why they're giving you these three together. It's not 3 parts. It's a 3-way test. You test from the right, you test from the left, and if these two are equal, if they're the same convergence, then the limit exists. If they don't equal, the limit does not exist.
So because the formulas are the same for both the 4 plus and doesn't it?
It's the same problem. You're just evaluating the same problem.
Yeah, it's the same problem. All 3 of these are the same. See? They're the same function. Okay? And you'll see it better when you see the question and not a part. Just hold tight.
That's what tripped me up when I first saw that question.
I was just wondering because I'm not sure how to what would I plug in for x? What would the difference be for evaluating each of those formulas without graphing?
Well, you gotta graph it really. It really helps you if you graph it. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second and I'll answer your question. Because we'll get to, I was hoping we get to a graphing one in this one. Okay, this one, you can actually divide. You remember me telling you divide? You can do that. But I want to get to one of that you actually, where is the infinities? Okay, I guess we're not going to do infinities on these. That must be 2.5. Okay, here's one. Okay, match x over x squared plus 1. Well, x squared plus 1, when you have 1 over x squared, that means you got a volcano. Okay, so this one is not, E is not right. So it might do you good to graph this on a calculator. So we'll pull the calculator up. This is just a calculator drill, but you can do it on a calculator, or you can do it by hand. But I thought 2.4 was a better. I thought 2.4 was I thought it was infinity. And I'm sorry. So graph x. So y is equal to parentheses x, close parentheses, divided by parentheses x squared. They hit 2. I didn't have 2. Plus 1. Close parentheses, graph. It's F. Okay? And as you see right there, the limit, you've got a limit. You're converging on 0 as what? You got a horizontal asymptote of 0.
That's your inflection point, right?
Yeah. You don't have a vertical asymptote, you have a horizontal asymptote. And that's because x over x squared, your horizontal asymptote is going to be 0.
And
That's what they're asking there.
so that's not a function.
So the function is vertical line test. Yes, it's a function, but it's not one. It's not 1-to-1. It's 1-to-1 because the horizontal line test works also. Still not the question I'm looking for. I guess that's in 2.5. Let me look in 2.5 right quick. Yeah, let me go to 2.5. We'll go back to 2.4. I'm just trying to go over the questions that's going to be on the test. So 2.3 so far, and let's go to 2.5.
Is there a difference between your 2.4 revised and your 2.4?
2.5 is what I'm on now. Yeah, all the revised are the ones you're going to be working on.
2.4, not 2.4 revised. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, 2.0, is that it?
Yeah, I don't know if that matters, but.
That does matter. Okay, we'll go back. Okay, this is the limit. Okay, what's 3 plus 0? 3. Remember us doing these the other day? You plug in infinity, or you divide by x squared, or you divide by whatever. This problem, you just got 2 terms. Limit as x approaches 3 plus the limit of x approaches. So plug it in. What's 3 plus 1 over infinity? That's 3 plus 0, which is 3. So you would put it in a 3 here. That's a test question, not 36, but 3. That's a test question. There we go. Okay, this is not a test question, but it's a homework question trying to get you to think about f of x is 4,000 and g of x is infinity. Now what they're trying to get you to do here is think out of the box. What is the outcome of 400,000 over infinity?
Infinity.
I'm sorry, 0, you're right.
Oops.
I was thinking opposite. Okay? What is it? 0. Why?
Because infinity's in the denominator.
Because 400,000 is a small number compared to what? Infinity. And infinity is going to keep what? Growing and growing and growing. So eventually it's going to go to what? 0. Think out of the box. You get a fantastic on that one. Okay, there you go. There's your test question. So do that one. Well, you don't have a term here. You got a polynomial over a degree, so you got to divide by x squared. Now, we did at least 3 or 4 of these the other day, so you should have this one down. So limit as x approaches infinity, and it's just writing whatever it wants to now. Now, the other one didn't do that. Limit as x approaches infinity, and I'm going to go ahead and divide everything. 5x squared over x squared plus x over x squared plus 8 over x squared. The people that write polynomials like that, I'd like to find them and trip them up when they go out to their car or when they're off work. I can't stand when people do that. I know they're doing it to try to prove a point, but they're yuck people. My father used to call people like that yuck people. Y-U-C-K people. Yuck people. So we get 5 limit as x approaches infinity of 5 plus 1 over x plus 8 over x squared. So that's 5 plus 1 over infinity plus 8 over infinity, which is, take our handy dandy red marker, and that's going to be 5 plus 0 plus 0, which is
5.
5.
By the way, I got it. The shorthand for you suck.
What?
Yuck. Was that right?
Yuck.
Yeah.
Y-U-C-K people. He used to call them. He would get mad at somebody and just walk off and yuck people. Nowadays, you know, people ask me if I stay on the farm. They say, Hubert, do you have PTSD? I said, no. I said, I just don't like to be around stupid people.
It's a stupid was triggered.
I mean, stupid people. What are stupid people? I don't want to get into it because I'll probably describe somebody before long, so I'm just not going to do it. But I gave you examples, you know, people that wear sunglasses indoors, like in the grocery store. Those are stupid people. They're just stupid.
What if they're like just doomsday preppers and they're planning for the power to go out?
What?
They're doomsday preppers, man. They're just expecting the power to go out.
They're yuck people. All right. Well, this one. No, this one. Be careful on this one. This one's a test question. What's the trick? What do you don't want to fall for? Well, don't fall for positive infinity, because this is not positive infinity. It's what? Negative infinity. And does it make a difference with a 5th power versus a 4th power?
No,
Well, fifth power will give you negative infinity. A 4th power will give you what?
Positive infinity.
Positive infinity. I'm going to let y'all write it down and do it. So 5 to the negative infinity to 5th power, so that's going to be negative infinity, right? 5 times negative infinity minus 6 times positive infinity, which will give you negative infinity. Okay? So you've got 5 times negative infinity, or negative 5 infinity, and then minus 6 infinity. What's minus 5 infinity minus 6 infinity? What are you going to get?
Positive.
Negative what? Negative infinity. You're not going to get 1. So it should be negative infinity. And you should feel good about yourself.
Yeah, it's positive. Plus 1.
What?
Negative infinity plus minus positive infinity plus 1.
All right, now this one will get you. You're supposed to divide everything by something. And always ask yourself this question. What is the square root of w to the 4th? W to the 2nd. So you're going to divide the top by the w to the 2nd. You're going to divide the bottom by the square root of w to the 4th, which is just going to cancel it out. That's what's going to happen. So the top we're going to divide by w squared. And that's going to give us 16 w squared over w squared plus 9w over, I'm sorry, w. I'm saying w, I'm sorry.
W.
I'm a dumb southernish, racist southerner. I say Clemson. W squared over w, the square root of 4
W to the fourth over W to the fourth plus W to the third over W to the fourth.
Please stop that. That's really creepy.
No, I have to do that because that's like if you pronounce a P in Clemson, you're dumb racist Southerners with no teeth. Got to be perfect.
W. Go to our website at www.
It sounds so creepy coming out of him.
I know. Why do people say W?
Good.
W.
Heard W.
W. The president? W. The former president, sorry. W. Okay, so what do we get? Well, here we go. Because Pendleton's not going to talk to me, so 16 plus 9 over that letter plus 3 over that letter squared divided by, and I'm just going to, you can do square root of 4. What is the square root of 4? 2, right? Because that's going to cancel. You get 2 plus the square root. What's left here? 1 over W, right? So that's the square root of 1 over what? W? Doesn't matter. 1 over W is going to give you 0. So what do we get? We get 16 plus 0 plus 0 over 2 plus the square root of 0. What's your answer? 8. And that's a good test question. So I'm going to type in so I can. We feel good about ourselves. Now, the reason I picked the wrong questions a while ago.
Before you clear that, can you flip back up?
Wait a minute, hold on. I hit the wrong 2.5 a while ago, or 2.4. I was supposed to hit 2.4 revised. So that's why we were going over, that was why those questions were crazy. Okay, I was on 2.5. You want me to pull that question back up?
Well, I mean, it's okay, just the screen we got.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to figure out kind of how you arrived at initially starting off with dividing by the square.
Well, you've got in the original problem. What time is it before somebody blows up?
23.
What time is
23.
class over?
Just skip it. Just skip it.
425.
Okay, let me take the roll because I don't want somebody at Pendleton to explode. Okay, I don't want that to happen. Settle down, Pendleton. Boy, I'm so glad I'm not teaching Pendleton anymore. I don't think I can take it. Oh God, here we go again. Just forget it. I get so tired of having to do this. What I do, Mr. Swords, this is so ridiculous.
Control Shift Delete.
Thank you. Control Shift Delete. Okay, so now go back to it.
Right.
Not working.
Yep.
You have a second student attendance.
I got a what?
In between the two outlooks, you have a student attendance.
No.
Close that. And it should
Thank
work.
you. It's my fault. Oh gosh, gotta log back in. Nope, that's not it either. It's just called Mayberry Union High. This happened the other day and I couldn't do attendance and I forgot to do attendance and said y'all probably got an email saying you wasn't in class. Frustrating. Let me go back in and come back in.
Thing is, that never started until Banner 9, that upgrade, which is supposed to be an upgrade. and then it started doing stuff like that.
Well, like I said before, it's hard to have new stuff on campus when people don't even know how to use it, just putting it in. Just like you said, we got people teaching CPT, don't know how to use Outlook.
Right.
We got people that work in what is it called, technical support, and some of them don't even know how to use Skype. Yeah, it's not working. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, y'all go ahead, just forget it, and I'll just give everybody a here for